To go. So I'll call the meeting to order at 6:09. And I am going to report out of closed session. We are going to move J3, item J3, under Tell Me Something Good Time. And we are taking off K2. We're going to pull that from the agenda and we will bring that back next week. Sound good? All right, you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
No.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. On to Tell Me Something Good Time.
Okay.
Oh, it's me?
Yes,
Me?
that is you.
I'm here to present on the behalf of the Star Foundation our check to the district. We are happy to continue our work with you guys for $157,000. And this is covering things like our Go Guardian, the new Renaissance Learning Software platform, discretionary funds for all 3 schools, as well as the Art Docent program, and then the Gold Books as well for the SPED program.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to organization updates. This is an opportunity for board members or staff to make a brief announcement or make a brief report on his or her own activities.
I attended promotion. That was great. And got to see Derek Gunnaker, which was great too. So.
I attended graduation. Yeah, I unfortunately was out of town and missed graduation, but I did help out at the book fair at the end of the year, and I was in science working.
That section?
Yeah, no, I wasn't there for the.
Oh, you were there for the flame one.
For the flame, yeah, I was in there for the flames, and then I attended the end of the year barbecue for this stuff. Great.
Yeah, I attended all the end of year celebrations. So the graduations at San Bernardino and at Washington Union. Dance Festival was adorable as always. The talent show at Washington was great. I attended the 3rd grade sing. I attended the Annie Jr. Show up at Washington, which was fantastic. And then I had a series of meetings. I met with the Good Shepherd Group. I met with a company who is wanting to partner with us to write a grant for school safety. So I'll be having more conversations with them in the next week or so. Attended School Site Council. We've met with Star a few times. We had our classified barbecue. So it was a busy end of year, but lots of great celebrations.
Yeah, I'll keep mine pretty short. Yeah, I went to School Site Council, graduation. We had all of our end of year activities at San Bernardino. Ton of fun that last week of school. Kids had a blast. I attended the classified barbecue, the end of year barbecue that we had. We went to the superintendent's lunch, end of year lunch, and yeah, just a lot of school year wrap up.
I attended the May Star Foundation meeting. I also got to see Annie Jr. with my son. It was great. It was the 30th annual dance festival, which was pretty cool. And a huge shout out to the teachers and the staff for getting students ready, to the Star Foundation for supporting the event, and then to the parent and community volunteers who did all the decorations. They turned out cool. I attended the superintendent's luncheon, the middle school promotion, and the end of the year barbecue.
I attended the final school site council meeting. I attended both Annie performances, very cute. I went to the superintendent's luncheon at Crazy Horse. I attended the Star meeting. We had our very first school-wide picnic, and I want to thank Star for the hot dogs. And Miss Arroggio provided Otter Pops, and Raleigh Camp played the saxophone, so it was very fun. We also immediately afterwards, since parents were already on campus, we had a parent volunteer appreciation ceremony. I want to thank Ms. Dumbacher. She donated a whole bunch of beads, and I want to thank the 30 Washington Union students who came in during their lunch period to create little keychains for all of our volunteers. So thank you. Talent show was very cute. We had our trimester awards assembly. 5th grade graduation. It was raining on the last day of school. I couldn't believe it. So we shifted indoors. It was very cute, very intimate. Summer school is in full swing. And we also were doing Camp Ohana this week. So yesterday we were playing soccer with a Union soccer team. We've been at the rock gym this past afternoon for about 3 hours. And then tomorrow we are going surfing. So action packed, yes. Very exhausting, but fun. Great.
Yeah, teachers are in rest mode now. But yeah, we finished our year and we had our last end of the year union meeting and working on an MOU with Union.
I want to add anything? Anything you guys are?
Oh, we are in full swing with back to school supply kit. Shipments are just arriving at my house daily. So we are in that mode. And then also just laying out our calendar for next year and trying to find some carnival volunteers so we can keep that event going. Yeah.
Community input. Did we have any?
Can I make a quick suggestion? When we do our kickoff meetings for the start of school year, can we give an opportunity to ask for volunteers for that big open meeting?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
You talking about the board meeting, or you talking about back to school night?
That's school night.
Yeah, they always present at back to school nights. Absolutely.
That way you get people that normally don't hear it in person.
Yeah, actually, Star and Parents Club before that do a really good job at the back to school nights of sort of deploying and being on campus and providing opportunities for parents to sign up to volunteer. So they do a great job with that.
Community input. Do we have any cards? No. Okay. Correspondence.
None.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, was there community input?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Typically we have cards that aren't without.
It's okay.
Go ahead. You want to go to the podium?
Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm Bo. I think you guys tell me. Bo Grundy. I have a couple of kids in the district. Hi, board members. I'm just trying to people say hi to. The item was removed, but I just wanted to share my concerns about raising fees for the time for me. I'm going to truncate it since it's moved. But the long and short of it is it's a really important program. Many families need it. I know my wife and I depend on it. Our concern is raising the fees could make it just too expensive. Maybe prohibitively expensive for other families. A lot less families in the district, which could ultimately sink the program. Is our main concern. So we just really want to make sure that all options are explored. If reducing costs in some way, and just reviewing all of the expenses, like look at the numbers and really figure out what's best for that program so it can stay long term. That's it. It's a great program. Families need it. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. On to correspondence.
None.
And public hearing. Public hearing on the district's proposed 2026-27 budget.
Would you like to open the hearing?
I will open the hearing at 6:18.
So this is this meeting this week and next week are the district and the board's opportunity to review and approve our annual budget and our annual local control and accountability plan. So the public hearing is an opportunity for anyone in the public to comment on the budget. We'll also hold a public hearing for the plan. So this is anyone's opportunity to make comment on the proposed budget, which has been available to the public at the district office upon request.
In a minute, I can close it at 6:19. And moving on to the public hearing for the LCAP, and I will open that up at 6:19.
Okay, same thing. This is the public hearing for our local control accountability plan. We'll make a presentation in a few minutes, but the plan has been available for people to review. If there's any comment, questions, now would be the time to address those. And then after the public hearing, we'll give an overview of what each of those items contain for you.
3 questions or 5 seconds, and it'll be a minute, so bear with me. All right, and we'll close that up at 6:20. Okay, moving on to discussion information items, enrollment.
We ended the year at 732 students.
Okay.
Our current enrollment stands at 548 for the fall.
Any increases in pre-K or kindergarten?
TK, it has steadily sort of crept up. So we're at 28 right now. So, we may get to 30. Kindergarten is at 47. Hoping to get to 50. I'm kind of expecting to get to 50.
Okay, thanks.
And Gina, what about releases from Salinas City for our first and second graders? Does that come through?
No, in fact, I just received word from Monterey County Office of Education that there is a family who was not released and is appealing it to the county board on Monday. And it's my understanding, based on some communications in my office, there's 1 or 2 other families. So Salinas City has, even though we have said these grade levels can stay per ed code, Salinas City has not released everybody.
Okay, moving on to J2. Curriculum activities.
Yep. So we have finished CASP testing. Scores are starting to arrive, and the scores from the CASP test will be sent out to parents probably in about 2 weeks.
Can you tip your hand on scores at all?
We have an increase in math. Language arts, I think, could be a little area of growth for us.
Yeah.
And moving on to report on LPAC testing.
So I do have scores from this coming year. John, you'll be very happy to know because I need to present on those. So for the LPAC, again, this is the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California. Go to the next slide. So total Washington Union had 18 students who took the summative LPAC. Again, this is for students who enter California speaking another language other than English at home. So in kinder, we had 3 students. Second grade, we had 1. Third, we had 2. Fourth, we had 4. Fifth, we had 2 students. Sixth grade, 3. Seventh, 1. Eighth grade, 2. The great thing is, out of all those students, 18, 4 of them already reclassified, which is fantastic. And what I try to do as director of curriculum is make sure that by 8th grade they pass it, so that when they go to high school, they do not need to be in a remedial English class. So I'm happy to report that of the 8th grade students, 1 of them reclassified. The other one hadn't been with us for too long, so that's unfortunate, but I'm glad that 1 of them was able to reclassify. So at our August board meeting, I know a lot of parents are out on vacation, but in August we will congratulate those 4 students who reclassified. The next thing that I want to show you is just a report from the LPAC scores within a 4-year period. So I'm really, really happy to report that the green is from this last school year. So as you can see, our scores on the LPAC just absolutely skyrocketed. And I really contribute that to all of the teachers and their hard work. And so as you can see, blue was the level from the 22-23 school year. Red is 23-24, yellow 24-25, and then green is 25-26. So I'll just leave that up there for a moment. But again, I'm just I'm really impressed with our scores this year for LPAC. They really increased.
That is impressive. The yellow to the green are all like pretty significant, except for the one.
I completely agree. And what's really nice is when a parent receives the scores from me, it actually has a snapshot of how their student has performed over the last 4 years. And when I was running those reports to send them not only to the parents, but for the teachers, so they can see the hard work that they've done and the progress for their student, it was a complete, increase above for all students. So that was great. And then just reflections when I was running these reports, I was so proud of our teachers. And I think a lot of it was we did have an ELD training from MCOE that was great. 2 teachers from 3rd grade completed BGLOUD training, and then 1 teacher from 5th grade. So if you look back on my chart here, we have quite a few 4th graders who will be going into 5th grade. So I'm hoping that because that teacher had the GLAD training, we can get those 4 students reclassified too.
Remind us what GLAD stands for.
Guided Language Acquisition and Design. Yeah, so it's a lot of visuals, just something to add to their toolbox. So again, I'm just really proud of the LPAC scores. Are there any questions for LPAC?
Super good, thanks.
Yeah, I thought that was really great. Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, report on the 2026-2027 LCAP.
Did you want to stand with me or you stay there?
Would you like me to stand with you? I'd be happy to.
All right, so please bear with me. This is my first full LCAP presentation. So again, what's confusing is we just finished the 2025-26 school year, but a lot of the data points that are asked of me are from the 24-25 school year. So I'm going to try and walk us through all of the different priorities and goals from both years. So the district overview, as we know, we're a K-8 district. We have Toro Park, Washington, San Bernardino, and our focus is always on academic excellence, student well-being, and community engagement. So budget overview. On your sheets, you have that budget overview. And so just as a recap, projected revenue is 11.4, LCFF funding 8.7, other state funds is 1 million, local funds 1.4, and then federal funds are 179,000. So key accomplishments for the 24-25 school year. So again, this isn't this this very last school year, it's the year before, but we had a really strong green performance in ELA and math. That means our students are meeting or exceeding grade level, which is great. Another key accomplishment that this was really, really surprising and just really great for our district is if you can see here, our chronic absenteeism greatly improved. So in 22-23, district-wide, we had 15% of our population was chronically absent. 23-24 school year, district-wide 6.4. This 24-25, 6.3. And look, our goal is 10%. So we're already meeting it. And looking at my last run on chronic absenteeism, we're going to just blow it out of the water this past year. It was really, really good. I think Washington was in the blue, and I think San Bernardino was in the green, which is great. So goal 1 for the LCAP, increase academic performance and close the achievement gap among all student subgroups by implementing targeted interventions, providing equitable access to resources, and fostering a culture of high expectations and support. So as you know, the LCAP that I'm working on is 79 pages. So what I did was I just pick and chose what I thought were the most important that really demonstrated how we're doing as a district. So the metric 1.12 are student outcomes. What I did was I pulled our multiple measures data because as you saw, we already scored in the green on CAS. So I have ELA math for the 23, 24, and 25 school years. This was the year where it sounds like there was some discrepancy on the multiple measures, and that's why there's not as much data there. But as you can see, from 23 to 24, we're doing well. And so our target for year 3, which will be next year when I present, is that 70% of students will meet or exceed. And as you can see, we're doing really, really well. So we're almost there. It just looks like San Bernardino could use a little bit of growth, but overall, we're doing pretty well for multiple measures. Any questions about that? And again, it's in your binder as well.
So for 2025, 26, San Bernardino is already at 75% met or exceeded. So they're already
24, 25. So this upcoming year, I can give you those results too, because we already have them.
okay.
Yeah. But as you can see, it looks like we're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
Another one, and Gina, you can help me talk through this one, is the parent survey data. So in 23-24, our goal, and we met it, was 70% of district families will complete the annual parent satisfaction survey. Unfortunately, in 24-25, we did go down to only 40% of our parent population completing it.
And then this past school year, which just came off the press from this, 2 months ago, only 36% of families completed it. And it was a little bit of a bummer because we did do a hamburger lunch as an incentive, and that clearly did not work. But I want Gina to also chime in because she has more historical knowledge. And on this past school year, we did have a lot more areas that had a 10% or more dissatisfaction rate. I don't know, Gina.
Yeah, I can jump in a little bit. So if you go back to 23, 24, and I think we've talked about it a little bit, the way we reported it historically was an inaccurate reporting of the data. We reported on the number of families in the district and how many surveys we received, which didn't take into account families with multiple children in the district. So we changed how we calculated the reporting to total number of surveys received and total enrollment in the district. So that's caused our data to shift in the reporting number. I actually thought we had a little bit of an improvement from 24-25 to 25-26. I thought 24-25 was a little bit lower than that, but we can go back and correct that. So it was the big shift in the percentage of parents completing it has more to do with how we were calculating the data.
So what do you think? Sorry.
Yeah.
For 23, 24 with that 70%, have you determined what that would actually be if you reported it how you are now?
It's probably pretty close to between 30 and 40.
30 and 40. Okay.
Yeah. And then so typically what we see in the parent survey data historically is one or two areas that have a greater than 10% dissatisfaction rate. You can see this year we had quite a few areas that were a little bit over 10. We had 11s and 12s. When you start looking at the number of surveys that were received with that sort of dissatisfaction rate, while I don't know because the surveys are anonymous, based on the consistency of the percentage, it would appear that there was a portion of parents who were obviously not happy about the transition and about the shift in the district, who reported negatively pretty consistently. So while I don't have names and I don't know who exactly submitted the surveys, it's a pretty consistent number that would seem to suggest that there was a group that was fairly unhappy all the way through the survey. So not that we're not going to pay attention to that and address the areas of concern and look at our practices and what we need to do to improve. It's just a little bit of anecdotal data on that.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, you can see there obviously there was problems with the bus routes, which we knew that, so that's not a surprise. But when you get information like dissatisfied with recognition of student achievement, you could do anything with that. Like, what does that mean?
Right. And there were some comments that I read that we no longer feel welcome. So does that translate to students being meaningfully recognized? If I'm looking at how we recognize kids, I think we do a whole lot more now than we've done historically. So it would be interesting to drill down a little bit and talk to parents about what that means to a parent. What is it they would like to see in terms of student recognitions, and what that might look like. How could we improve in a way that's going to move that needle?
Yes. Do you get very much written comments when somebody? I assume this is a ranked thing where it's 1 through 10 or 1 through 5. Then do they tell you what their problem was? Or
we have every section of the survey has an open-ended response at the end of each section. Yeah.
And I wonder if this would even make a difference. Is there an option do you want this to remain anonymous, or would you like to put your name on so we can circle back if you have some questions? Like, is that?
I've never done that.
Is that an option?
That's an idea.
Because if and if I'm filling out a survey and this is just me and I have some complaints, I often, if it's anonymous, will leave my name so somebody can follow through.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I don't know. And
maybe it's a great suggestion. We could add that in to say if you'd like to, you can be anonymous, but if you'd like to put your name.
So we can contact you to talk about some of your comments.
No, that's a great idea.
Any more questions on the parent survey data? So just to recap for Goal 1, these are the actions that we have in place. We have the supplemental programs such as IXL, Vocabulary, Heggerty, OG, Mystery Science, and we also did high dosage tutoring this past year. We also have the reading support specialist at Toro. And then we also, and like I mentioned, Meet Lads, we have lots of different programs going on. And then down here, we have our Amplify curriculum that we have fully implemented. So this is year 2 of full implementation. And then the added bonus this year was the Orton Gillingham training for all TK through 5 staff aides. So they also are trained. And then we still maintain that really strong teacher induction. We have 100% completing the induction program. So that helps us with retention to help with the kids who are EL. So we have those teachers that are with us. They know how we teach. They know what our expectations are. So that's great that we just keep maintaining that 100% for induction program completion. Goal 2, school climate and wellness. So again, our goal 2 is foster a positive and inclusive school climate that promotes a sense of belonging, safety, and mutual respect among students, staff, and families to support academic success and social emotional well-being. So counseling data. What I did was I took the 23, 24, 24, 25, and 25, 26. We're on the upward with satisfaction. So in 23, 24, we had a 9% dissatisfaction rate with our counseling program. In 24, 25, we have a 6%. And then this past school year, we have a 5%. And our target goal is 4%. So I'm hoping that this upcoming year we'll hit 4% and we will meet our goal. The Toro Park student survey data, and this one was always really important. And I know as a board, this is a really important question to ask students is, do they feel safe at school? And so at Toro in 22, 23, it was 93, 24, 25, it was 96, and 25, 26, it was 97. So we're creeping up as far as our kiddos feeling safe at Toro Park. And our goal is 100%, which I think that's a great goal. I don't think we should ever lower that because I think every student should always feel safe at school. Washington, we had 93, 93, 93. So we'll keep working up at Washington. San Pancho, we had 93, 80, but this year was interesting because 10% had no opinion. And then this past year, 91%. So we're again going on the increase and hopefully next year we'll have 100% who feel safe. Goal 2 actions in place. We have our school counselor, Miss Caitlin, who's done, I thought, a phenomenal job. She's even had evening courses for parents to log into. She's done a superintendent's coffee in the morning. We have our SDL curriculum at Toro Park. I also just purchased a new zones of regulation just for TK and Kinder. So I'm hoping that that will be implemented this upcoming school year. And then we have our student support specialist at Toro Park School. So those are our options. Challenges and areas for growth. We definitely want to keep focusing on that parent survey participation. Hamburgers didn't work, so next year we'll come up with a new idea. The need for continued support for attendance, behavior, family engagement. When we had our last family engagement through Zoom, I think we had 1 parent, so we'll keep working on that. And then just keep improving. I think we always can just continue improving. Looking ahead, we're going to maintain that high academic standard, expand literacy and student support programs, and of course, strengthen our family engagement. The LCAP in a nutshell, but if you have any other questions, please let me know.
Lily.
Thank you for taking that topic and make it super entertaining.
You're welcome.
That was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I want to recognize because that document that the state created, it takes weeks of people's time
Yes.
to put together.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I am moving on to the report on the 26-27 July 1 budget.
All right, fun report, you guys. Okay. So if you guys have any questions throughout the PowerPoint, please do let me know and stop me. So Governor May revised one of the biggest things that did change from January up until May was now they're calling it a super cola rather than just a cola. It was originally at 2.37. Now it's projected to be at 4.31. So that's what I'm using for this budget. Projections of students. This is a rundown of the projections that I've used in the past in our enrollment. This projection was originally started off at 620, but as you guys heard earlier, we currently have 548 students. So I'm a little bit well over. So our ADA is based off of 95%. Using that projection of 620 students, I'm projecting a ADA of 532, but our 3-year average is what we're going to get funded off of. So essentially, we'll be funded next year off of 718 at 88 rather than 532, which is what we will have. Some of the expenditure relief that we'll have next year, our biggest ones will be solar here in San Bernardino that recently got approved, and at Washington. They've been up for a couple of months now, but PG&E has to approve them. So just a quick estimate, I think March, my bill was about $22,000. This past month came through about a little bit under $7,000. So just
Thank you.
So our LCFF revenue, LCFF revenue for next year is coming up at $8.7 million. 1.8 million is coming from state aid. Taxes is generating 6.7 million. Other state is 285,000 and locals at 455, bringing the total unrestricted revenue at 9.4 million. Now, expenditures coming out through the unrestricted side is we have about 3 million for certificate of staff, classified is 1.3, benefits is 1.7, and brings that total to about 7.4 million. So once we add that up and we do our contribution, we have a net balance of 1.1 million going into a general fund. So our ending fund balance next year, I'm projecting it to be a little bit right above 3 million. But from that, 1,500 is revolving cash for Tracy. 25,000 is a truck reserve. We've had that for quite some time. Our mandated reimbursement, 128,000. Safety and security, about 300,000. We're actually meeting with our grant writer in a few weeks about a project for that. And then facilities, 200,000. Our bus reserve 175, and then our budget contingency of $1 million. A few new items that are included on our reserve here is I would want to transfer with this budget 350,000 from our general fund over to Fund 17. I would also want to use about 350,000 towards our roofs. One of our roofs out in Toro really need a lot of help. Try to paint some buildings, and then trying to see what I could do with $150,000 for our parking lot out here. I know 150,000 won't get as much, but if it could just get us by at least 3 years by just lowering it, and then we get down to the gravel, to the dirt, to actually do the whole thing the right way is a little bit over $1 million. So we'll see what we can do in a couple of years. So some of the contributions, you might be asking why we have so much in a reserve, or how did we get from originally, if you guys recall back in December, some of the numbers I was projecting is about like 500,000, 600,000. Well, in February, AB 602, which is SPED, it comes from from local. They were funding us at $811 per ADA, but as of June, the governor is projecting to be funding it at $1,223. So that brings our total coming from MCOE rather than $587,000 to $886,000. So we normally would contribute the difference. So now because we're saving $300,000, now we don't have to contribute it. So that's why there's a huge savings of 1.1 million. The Super Cola did also play a huge factor in that because it did raise it up about 2%. And then originally, when some of these original budgets were being constructed, we were projecting 3 FTE in savings. And as when I constructed this budget, we had 5 FTEs. And then the biggest takeaway is 718.88. So our supplemental funding for our 26-27 is going to be about 202,000, and that's all usually certificated staff and our counselor. Our Fund 12, which is Charlene's account, revenue projecting to be about 450 all in all in total, and expenditures about 450. Transfer to the general fund about 30. So then our ending balance would give or take about 99,000. These projections I originally started back in the day, but there's some new information that will play a factor in this one. So might have to bring this one back to you guys. And then Fund 17 is our reserve. So if we do transfer about 350,000, we're getting about 65,000 in interest. Our ending fund balance in our 26-27 school year should be about $2.4 million in our Fund 17. Now our multi-year. This year compared to last year, and this year I mean by 25-26 compared to 26-27, biggest difference is our COLA. Rather than, like I said, 2.3, we're at 4.31. Our ADA is our other one that originally I had projected. It is a lot lower than what I had originally projected. And then our funding ADA is only decreasing about 8. So from what we got funded this year, it's only decreasing about 8. So
Someone on that Gina reported 548. So do we need to what's that?
Yeah. So I'm just reporting what I had
It's
originally.
static. I totally get it. I was
But I
gonna
have
blur
to-
out my comments, okay?
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's just this is what I had started with, and so I didn't want to start moving things because I sent this to the county. So then they're gonna say like, wait, why is your
Yeah,
presentation?
this is a point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks.
So our multi-year projection, our revenues in our restricted fund should be about 2.8, expenditures 2.7. Our change in fund balance this upcoming year should be about positive 65,000. Our beginning balance, fund balance this year should be about 404,000. Our ending fund balance about 506,000. By 28-29, I'm projecting to have a decrease up to 211,000 rather than 506. That's taking into account next 27-28 deficit spending about 59,000. That's some of our one-time fundings being used. It's not being rolled over. Some of our funding that we currently get through our restricted side is actually by ADA, like our current ADA, not our past ADA. So that's going to start taking a bit of effect, but then we just have to move some expenditures. And so then our multi-year projection and our unrestricted. Like I said, this upcoming year we're projecting to receive 8.7 million in LCFF funding. Still is LCFF funding. 27-28 is still LCFF funding at 8.3, and then in 28-29 it's projecting at 7.7 million, and that is basic aid or community funded. Sorry. But one thing I would like for you guys to know is this is being very conservative. Originally I should have included about a 2% raise in our taxes. I did not because I wanted to see our worst case, and I wanted to present to you our worst case, which ideally, even at a 1%, we would increase, but I wanted to see what that number would look like coming in and present that number to you guys. And so that would be a revenue of 7.7 million. And so in looking at that compared to our projected expenditures, which in 26-27, like I said, is 7.4 million. In 27-28, it'll be 7 million, and in 2029, 7.5 million. Our change of fund balance, even with this conservative route, like I was trying to say, is we're still in a positive at $55,000. Our biggest years would be this current year at 1.1 million, the following year at 1.81 million, and then that's because our 3-year average is keeping us a lot higher than our current ADA. So by the 2029 school year, I'm projecting for us to have about a 4 million ending fund balance. And like I said, some of the components of the ending fund balance that I would like us to incorporate or add is some roofs, some parking, some transfers over to Fund 17. And then for our small district, normally, if you're LCFF, they want us to have a 4% reserve, but because we're trending towards community budget, that kind of rules does not apply for us because we don't get payments every month. We actually just get it twice a month, twice a year, which is going to be totally different for us in 2029. So we have to kind of be ready for that.
You have to budget like a farmer.
November and March are going to be our paydays. And so we have to make sure we use our revenue coming in and use it at the right time. We don't want to start using or asking the accountant for funds. So by the 2029, we'll have about a 39% reserve. The budget summary, I put this on your guys' binders. It's just some of the FTE, our FTEs, kind of the breakdown of the entire budget, how much is being utilized where, and then this is just a summary of everything that I went through. These next 4 pages summarizes essentially what I would say about 80 pages of SACS paperwork. So just by looking at these 4 pages, you could kind of get the big picture of what's going on in our budget, from expenditures to revenue, and you could kind of tell where the expenditures are being utilized. And that's pretty much it.
Sounds good. Thanks for the report. A couple comments that I have are, I would think if you could, I appreciate you being conservative because your predecessor Kay proceeded the same way. That way you wouldn't over project revenue and get yourself in trouble. She did define balance, but I feel like on your updates you should be able to project at least 1%, which will help that third number look better. And then if we do have these, you have some recent changes in the last governor's update that gave us, let's just say, an extra $500,000. Definitely put as much towards the reserve for the reason that you just spoke about, to be able to fund payroll, which is a significant amount. And you just got to see the timing on when you're going to need the payroll. We're going to start the year, let's just say in 2 years, and you won't be able to get your payment till October or November, right? So you're gonna be living off revenues, stashed revenues in that reserve fund potentially for a while to be able to make payroll without borrowing. So that's a smart move. That'd be my suggestion on that. I'd say if there's items of deferred maintenance that need to get done, like the parking lot, I support all that. We've always put that on the back seat. That's not good. I recognize there's a volatility of staff, and so just so everybody's clear, the way the LCFF works is, hey, if you're losing students, they take your highest year in a 3-year average, and that's why you're seeing this extra. We had a drop off in the amount of students, but they hold like your last year as an average, and each year that goes down a little bit. What do we look like then on 28? Is it 27, 28, or 28, 29?
28, 29, we're actually down there.
Where do you think our student population is going to be?
Student population should be about 450.
450. So that'll bring down, the teachers where we our goal is to have a good supported teacher staff going into that for all those students, and it's going to average about 60 per class, right? And we'll just have a two class system all the way through.
Great.
Two grade.
Great.
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
It's the same thing, but
Yeah.
it could be misinterpreted. I agree.
2 classes per grade, per
Yeah.
grade level.
Yeah. Okay. And then do we have any other changes? I heard you say something before the end of June because you gotta get
Oh.
this thing tuned up.
Well, the only other thing that I did add on here is we do have new transportation. We just added what's his name? Sorry, we have another Jose Pimentel, taking over for Martin's old position. So he was not added on here, but I will add him on there for you for next week. I could add him on there for you. But he was being projected, so I'm sorry. He was being projected on there using Martin's vacant position. So he is included on there.
Okay.
This isn't exactly budget, but you mentioned painting, $65,000 in painting going forward. What buildings are you planning to start with?
So we've been driving while we drove around. We went up to Washington. We were thinking either to start in Washington or I wish we could do them all, but we can't. So either we continue going in Toro or we want to do something in Washington. Those are the last ones that we talked about because even when you drive in here, it's not that appealing when you come and walk, see the front of. It's weird. We've seen some pictures of the front of San Venancio, and it's the same thing of 50 years ago, just a couple different flowers. So yeah, so we've been trying to decide which site to go with first, but we've debated on either we keep the same color up at Toro. I know we painted one of the buildings over there. We're trying to see how that looked, or we go a different color combination. But I'm hoping to get at least 1 or 2 buildings done this summer.
You also mentioned trying to find a grant to do some safety and security work. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, so Gina actually got an email regarding some safety. And so she reached out to them, and we actually have a meeting next week, right?
It's called the School Safety and Violence Prevention Grant. And so this organization will come in, obviously for a fee, but they'll assist us with writing the grant. And they have, it's up to $500,000. It's a 25% match. And it will fund projects, obviously, that contribute to student safety. So in our preliminary conversations, for us, it would be things like the new gates, some new fencing, things that would provide an additional layer of security or an improved layer of security. A few weeks ago, somebody came to do some work at the school and couldn't get in, didn't know who to talk to, so just pulled the gates up out and laid them on the ground and drove through. So luckily, it was just a worker, and they did their work and put the gates back, but that is a security issue. And so, those are things that we would want to consider in this electronic age. How do we get electronic gates, but that would provide access for emergency vehicles? We have our partners at AB Ingham up here, and we get a lot of fire engines and ambulances that come through. So we have to work with our first responders and law enforcement to make sure that we were doing things that provided adequate access as well. So we're going to talk to them. I just got an email this afternoon. The grant is opening up, I think, in the next week, and it's due like August 11th. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So they'll work with us to get some demographics, get some information about who we are, what we do, what sort of concerns we have, what sort of incidents we've had, if any. They say they have an 86% success rate with this grant. So we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Good.
Yeah.
We can get outside money to help. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you. All right, moving on to the community funding update.
Yeah, super quick, just to give you a little update on where we are. So we finished the year, as we all know, it was a really difficult year, very challenging with the transition we're going through. So what I've tried to do is give you where we are now and what we plan to do moving forward. So our final enrollment was 732 students. Now, when I put in our interdistrict transfers, our percentage pops up right now at about 26%. That, of course, is because the system is updating as people leave. So even though we had an enrollment of 732 students at the end of the year, over the summer, as families have disenrolled or hopefully moved into the district and changed their address, our interdistrict transfer percentage is now showing at 26%. But, you know, currently we're projecting about 550 students for the fall. And what we want to focus is how we're going to move forward. You know, it was a challenging year with a lot of heartache. It was a big transition for this district. The time is now to start to begin that move forward as we move closer to the basic aid threshold and what we're going to look like as a district moving into the future. We know there's still going to be some rough spots. There are still some families who are going to matriculate out. But, you know, we've met as a team and kind of where we're kind of focused right now is those families that are interdistrict transfers that are still with us know what their path is, right? They know that there's a finite timeline for their time in the district, or they're, you know, I've talked to several families who are trying to make arrangements to find a residence in the district. So as we move forward, we want to move forward with a sense of positivity, with a renewed energy to what we're going to look like as a district in this new future. So in terms of staffing for the 26-27 school year, there were some shifts in staff, so there will no longer be a job share in the third grade class. We were able to fill that as a full-time position, and the teacher that was in the job share has been assigned to another grade level. We will have a combination class in second and third grade. And as we continue to monitor enrollment, you know, there may be, we'll have to monitor our enrollment closely. There may be a combination opportunity at another grade. So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll keep looking forward to how we're going to manage that if we get there. Just really almost daily monitoring of the enrollment and making sure that we're set to go for the fall. So in terms of curriculum and staff development, we're looking forward. There's a lot of energy in our planning right now and looking forward to the 26-27 school year. Lily's got a committee working on adoption of new science materials. We have partnered with the Chartwell Institute and Chantel Turian Schaefer to do monthly sessions or regular sessions throughout the school year on structured literacy. We're going to continue to ask hard questions about artificial intelligence as we move forward into that space. We know that it's a hot button right now. It's in the news a lot. We're looking at what we're doing in our schools, how we're using it, how we teach kids to be responsible users of artificial intelligence, and what that's going to look like for our district. Do we pull back and really be super conservative about it? But we're looking at all of that. And we want to continue to be mindful of that. We plan to hold some listening sessions as we move forward and start looking to what our district is going to be and who we're going to be in the next 5 years. You know, we've talked about a committee, but what we've talked about as a team is we want to give everybody an opportunity to come to the table and give us their opinions and give us their feedback. So what we're going to plan starting in the fall is to host listening sessions for community members, parents, community members, staff, to come in and talk about who we are, what we want to look like, who we want to be in the future, so that we can collect all of that feedback in order to make decisions about how we're going to move forward. And we want to make sure that at the middle school, we're giving our teachers support. At the middle school, I know Joe has talked to you quite a bit about the staffing model going into 26-27 is going to provide some co-teaching opportunities. So we want to make sure we give teachers, we don't want to just put 2 teachers in the classroom and say you're co-teachers. We want to give them some support and resource for what co-teaching looks like and what that's going to look like in our classrooms and how we're going to support our kids optimally in that model. Facilities, Gerardo just talked to you and we talked about the grant opportunities. But what we want to start looking at is how we're going to continue to manage our facilities. So parking lot improvements, we already talked about. We're going to get our maintenance sheds literally died last week. So we have a couple of sheds out here. So they're no longer even functional. We wore them out. So we've got some new sheds coming in. We've got to replace our water tanks in the back. They're looking pretty bad. That is non-potable water. It's for irrigation only, but those tanks have really degraded over the last several years. So we need to replace those. We know we need roofs at Toro Park. We are anticipating the start of some more permanent structures on Portola Drive. That's not our responsibility as a district. TAMC has got a project planned for some sort of a swing gate that will be on Portola Drive somewhere in front of Toro Park. How it's going to be managed and how we as a school district are going to monitor and manage that are still remain to be seen. I have some concerns, but at least right now in the mornings, there's still a lot of traffic on 68. And while some people are starting to cut through, it still remains pretty quiet. So there's not a lot of traffic that's cutting through, and I hope it stays that way. We're looking at exterior painting. Sorry, not interior. We're also looking at new signage through our relationship with MIRMA, which is our JPA for our workers' comp and safety. We got a grant, so we're going to start updating and replacing some of the old worn-out signage around the district. So that'll get done this summer. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to those giant trees out at Washington Union. There's a couple of really big trees that are starting to hang over the roofs, and we want to make sure that we don't, unwittingly create a really dangerous situation as we head into the winter. So we're going to look at some tree trimming up there and just regular ongoing grounds and maintenance. Just this report is really preparing to move forward and what we're going to do as a district to kind of reset our sails and begin that march to the future. That's it. Questions?
Thank you, Gina.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? We got some audience members that are trying to take photos. Can we just give them the presentations?
Yeah.
That public, that way you're not
Of
having.
course. I'll have Mike put it on. We just put it on the web.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, moving on to action items. Number 1, the approval of resolution 252620, the Education Protection Account EPA expenditure plan.
So these are state income tax and personal tax revenues that are deposited into the Education Protection Account that we receive as a district. And Gerardo, do you have any additional information on the EPA? It's a statutory requirement that we report out and we post it on the website.
No, but I know the plan is on there, how much you're spending. That last year was 186. 186,000.
Is the report in here?
Yeah, it's
It's
okay.
145,
45.
98.
Okay. So we'll have, this is a resolution.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the resolution. That's a roll call, right?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Right. All right, moving on to not that one. Number 3, K3, adjustment of 26-27 district calendar.
Yeah, so we have our approved district calendar that we worked on with our superintendent's advisory. We would like to adjust it by one day. The last week of school, we have a minimum day on Wednesday, May 26th. What we'd like to do is add a minimum day on Wednesday, May 25th. That's the last week of school when we have a lot of special activities going on, and it'll keep those 2 days consistent and allow the school sites to have their activities. It still allows parents to be present. If they take their kids, it's not a huge disruption to the day. So we have plenty of instructional minutes. It doesn't in any way endanger us in terms of that. And so we would like to just add that minimum date to the calendar.
I have a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And moving on to approval of food service assistant job description and salary schedule.
So this is a position that we've been talking about. It's specific to Toro Park. As you know, we have stipended our health aides for our librarians at the other two schools who have assisted us with providing food service in the Universal Meal Program. Because Toro is bigger, more kids, and more younger kids, that job is more labor intensive, it's more time intensive, and it got to the point where we need to have a separate person in there to provide that service so that the health aide at Toro Park can do the responsibilities of her job as assigned. So this is, it's a 3.75 hour position to come in, get everything, take delivery of the meals every day and provide snack and lunch.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
In a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And there is a little error at the bottom. The top is approval of food service assistant. Recommend approval says new support specialist. So we just want to make sure that is noted as food service assistant.
Okay. With that edit then?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like me to redo my motion?
Nope. I think we're okay. If you're okay, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's listed correctly at one place. So
Yeah.
Lines up.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to approval of artificial intelligence board policy number 0441.
Okay, I put this as an action item because we did a reading and then we did a second reading. This is still up for discussion if you're not ready to approve it. Mike made some revisions, I believe.
Highlighted in yellow.
I did highlight those in yellow. Just based on the conversations that we've had so far, really trying to emphasize within the different sections where it's applicable that we want it to be used as a tool to augment student learning, to support them in their learning process, not replace, their engagement in that learning process. We want them to produce their own work. We want them to have those conversations with their peers, but also use artificial intelligence as a way to refine their thinking and get some of that targeted feedback that Ms. Leon shared out in her presentation.
Well, I still have a problem with this. Mike, I was interested in last week or last time when we read this, it said the governing board recognizes that artificial intelligence possesses transformative potential to enhance instructional practices. Oh no, this is the new one. Support teacher productivity and enable greater personalization to meet diverse student needs. The one we read 2 weeks ago said, and we also recognize the potential for AI to undermine student achievement, health, and well-being. And that part was taken out.
So what happened was the committee and I met to kind of piece this proposed policy together. There's a template board policy on artificial intelligence that was released to all school districts that they could choose to adopt. And so what you saw last week, where that is written, is the template policy. So we started there as a committee with that template policy, and then over the course of our meetings and discussions, this is where we landed. So we didn't necessarily agree with that particular statement as we were working through as a committee. So the philosophy and purpose, that's listed here is where the committee landed,
they've reworded it, I hope, to where they're saying the governing board basically says you better gate this. That's the way I'm reading that preamble. It's a, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying because I think we share the same kind of cautionary thing about keeping reading, writing, and arithmetic basics there that can't be supplanted. We even were saying like, well, why don't you just go ahead and define what those things are, cursive writing and all these other things, you know. Other things we talked about are age appropriateness on when to introduce it. And I had a discussion with certain people about, well, why don't we go ahead and lead the charge? And it could be in a future edit of every grade level. How would you use it? Go ahead and, you know, define, you know, how it could be used. You know, we might be the leaders and based upon best practice by every grade level, kind of point by point, in addition to general conditions, if you will. Just something for the future. I would ask the board, though, we did ask in strategic planning last year, like, hey, you need to put forth a policy. They've taken it. It's been commented on. It's been supplanted with some comments. It may not be 100% ideal. We've said it's a living document. Is there any reason why we wouldn't go ahead and get something in place, but with that commitment, like we just got to keep an eye on it and just plan on updating it every year or whatever you think.
I like that. And as far as the committee goes, I mean, are you thinking about continuing having that committee? Not necessarily with the same people, but maybe, you know, continuing something like that each year to have it be the living document, to keep looking at it and keep revising or keep working with it?
Yeah, next year we're looking at a revise of our district technology plan anyways. And so part of that committee's job would be to serve as our AI task force, which would continue reviewing this policy. We also would like to develop like an AR that tied to the board policy on artificial intelligence, which would be a great space to list out more specifically what we would like to do at every grade level with regards to the educational program. And the student pieces that kind of generally laid out in the policy, but the AR would give us a little bit more of an opportunity to spell out specifically what we're doing with.
Sure, and you're going to have lessons learned. I mean, Kelsey like totally raised all of our game. Like I'll speak for myself, my game on keywords and definitions and how it could be used properly. So she and others probably need an opportunity to get in front of and have like mentoring sessions on that. And then that's going to open the floodgates for every grade level. Right. And then you'll be able to define this, I think, a little better. So, I would just say, so Hope, is there anything specifically in here we would be against or you're against or where we couldn't approve tonight?
Well,
with the thought that we would.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. It's a living document. As we get more information, things, you know, we learn more. And, you know, I love your idea of saying, tell us how you're going to use it at the second grade level, because my first reaction is, what do you mean? Like, why is a second grader using AI?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Why not just take a shot at it and ping every one of those educators on each level and say, well, what are your thoughts on this? And we'll craft it. And obviously they're going to err on the side of caution, and they may say, we're just going to use AI for presentations of material and nothing to grade and nothing to suggest for the students. It might just be blanket statements up until they get to the age appropriate, right? But the kids are so smart, like anyone with kids, young kids, you know, if they'll steal your phone from you, your pad, and before you know it, they're better at it than you when they're 6, you know? Yeah. So you can't deny their abilities to get into that stuff. So you got to train them early. So on this whole ethics thing and what's right and what's wrong,
right.
You know?
Right. So. Well, that's the only thing, John, on this. What I would appreciate, and you know, what I would appreciate is if this, like you took out the sentence that said there could be harm, you know, and so that tells me that your committee is pretty invested in this, and that worries me because I think we need to be skeptical about this. And I want to approach everything we do that has anything to do with AI, and especially the large language models, with skepticism, because you're finding, you know, I sent Gina a podcast today that talked about somebody analyzing 400,000 student college essays before using AI and after using AI. And from those 400,000 essays, what they learned is that the essays sounded better, but were less original and were less thoughtful, and they became more homogenized. But they tricked the graders because the language made it sound better. But if you actually looked at the ideas, they were not novel, they were not creative, they were
I agree with you on that, though. I
And
agree with you.
so-
That's what we'll lose when we create this, generation potential of kids that can't think for themselves. And so you gotta be pretty specific,
Yeah.
I have a feeling
Yeah.
as we move forward.
Yeah.
So I think you heard, Mike, you heard what Hope said. She'd like to see that,
That first sentence, if you took that first sentence
she'd
out,
like to see the
What was it again?
the cautionary tale.
The first one.
I see what you've done here. You're saying, hey,
Yeah.
this is what you got to defend.
Oh,
That's how I read
that was
that.
what it was before.
But then she would like that cautionary tale of it could be bad. So you have to keep it in check. And that's what she would like out of back in. And the reason that matters is because it says the governing board.
Sure. No, this definitely is going to set the tone for what we do throughout the district. So we want it to be reflective of how you feel about the tool and how it's used.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking, Mike, is that as we go forward, like no parent has ever come to us so far and said, I want more AI in the schools, right? They're not asking for that. And as we differentiate ourselves against these other schools, and primarily we're going to be competing with private schools, where do we want to land on that? And I don't think leaning into AI, unless we've got the data to prove it, is going to help us.
I think what's proven too is AI hallucinates a lot. Straight up. It's not perfect yet. So with that, you kind of have to check its paper. So.
Sure. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do is establish some of those guardrails for use within the school district setting, like the piece that we can control. And then the student education program is hopefully going to craft like a student's view of AI as that tool where they will use it as a thought partner, not, write this essay for me and then I'll go ahead and submit it. And our hope is that by engaging in those conversations with students, by allowing teachers to have those conversations and use the tools in their classrooms, that we can develop how students view these tools and use them like effectively, as opposed to not like backing away from those conversations and then letting students, which they will, figure it out on their own outside of the classroom setting where we don't have any control or ability to.
That's where I think, discussion with parents and teachers is going to be key. I'm like, well, what are your thoughts on it too? Because the parent experience at home is like, you got to start training them on this now or it's going to be too late once they have that bad habit integrated. And it could be third grade or something. And then you're like, well, did we talk about that?
Right. You had a third grader using ChatGPT for an assignment.
I guarantee you they're all doing it. These kids are highly intelligent.
Well, they're not going to be if they keep using ChatGPT.
Well, they know how to get the answer quick, and it may or may not be right.
Yeah.
And we're working with Common Sense Media. We just did a meeting with them this week to kind of establish a parent engagement series. So it'll be a 3-part series that will start in the fall of next year. And part of the topic will be AI engagement and how to support students and definition of what the tool is, the dangers of using these tools, but also the benefits. And that'll be mixed in with some digital citizenship pieces that they can review. So that'll kind of kickstart the parent engagement side of this.
All right, I think that's a great idea. So you kind of heard opinions here. So it's close. First of all, I want to recognize that everybody has helped put this together, Mike, and I do not want to discount. Plus, we're kind of giving you smoke on, free thinking and whatever. And don't take that as directed to you because this is you were volunteered to do this.
Yeah.
So, but you're just having to have to take data and that you get and morph it, right? But I do want to say that, except for the fact that we got to put this cautionary tale paragraph back in, can we just bring it back with minor edits and then hope if you have any other questions on that,
Yeah, actually, John, I mean, I don't mind if it doesn't, you know, it could start out, the district is committed to providing students with innovative educational experience. You could just cut out that first sentence. We didn't need to back AI, right?
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if we just take out
Right,
that first sentence, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at it starts with academic honesty, and it's making the statement that we're emphasizing the importance of upholding academic integrity, originality, adhering to ethical standards in all academic endeavors. And it's saying, as we integrate this, we're saying you better be careful. That's what they just rewrote.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with
No,
that.
I don't have a problem with that either.
So you don't want to put in that the statement about like you better do it right. I think this emotively kind of covers the same thing. I think it's well written on that preamble.
I'm
I think
sorry.
you're talking about two different things.
No, we're not. I'm looking at this right here. This is the update. Are you have
she's just talking about the very first sentence
right?
right here.
Yeah.
Saying she would prefer this first sentence to be taken out of this first paragraph. So maybe it's on a different.
No, what I'm telling you is that's a different document. This is what was in the board packet. The highlighted yellow one, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's our updated AI
Right.
policy.
This is why we thought.
The other one was
Take your time on it.
Okay,
Take your time looking at
Yes.
it. Quick.
okay. Well,
Wait,
then
wait, wait, wait. No, you're in a different place.
Oh,
Well, what is this? Hold on.
That's the second page.
This is the second page.
Yeah.
So then. Okay, so this should have been like this.
oh, that's how this starts?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Why would the
it's
philosophy of the
page 2 is kind of glazing AI. I don't disagree with you. You want to edit it?
just that one sentence, I'm fine.
All right. We're going to strike the
Under philosophy and purpose.
first sentence.
The governing board recognizes that
Yeah.
artificial intelligence possesses transformative potential to enhance instructional practices, support teacher productivity, and enable greater personalization to meet diverse student needs.
Yeah.
Breaking.
I don't know why we need that.
So are we making a motion to approve by striking that first sentence, or are we going to bring it back next week?
If it's more than one sentence, I'd say let's bring it back. But if you feel like
That satisfies me. Otherwise, I agree with what John says, is this is a living document,
Yeah.
and as things come up.
can we add this to the minutes? Because I want to recognize your put weeks into this, right? And
Yeah.
to not have a policy, then you're hanging it out there where you don't have some kind of system in place.
Right, and
So it's beyond recognizing your efforts. It's like a lot of thoughts gone into this.
well, and I think we need to have a policy in place.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. So, so under philosophy and purpose, I would move to approve this, that we strike that first sentence in its entirety and approve this document. And then in the minutes, just we'll set forth a timeline for teacher, grade level teacher and parent input, and make a goal to have an updated draft by strategic planning of next year.
I think that's reasonable, and they'll give us time to put together an AR to go with it to spell out some of the details.
Yeah, we're only going to enhance it, and we might be the first ones to create this, right? So,
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I thank you, Mike, and everybody
Yes,
else.
thank you, Mike. And
Moving on to L, second reading?
None.
None, okay. And moving to approval of consent agenda. Is there any questions, discussion?
I did see on the minutes, it's doing one of those little, it has like a little created by AI stamp on there that probably can get removed or something in a couple places. Other than that, I was good with it. Yeah, it is. And minutes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to future meeting dates next week. 17th, we will be back here. And July 8th, we normally,
If necessary.
if necessary.
And we'll talk more about that next week.
All right, and do I have the motion to?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. First day of school is